The following podcast is run by a couple of former wheel turners and one pit guy. It's meant for entertainment, not so much information, but sometimes there's some good information. The opinions expressed are just, these are the morons on the show. Not necessarily right, not necessarily wrong, not the views of any of the sponsors or anything like that. So, these guys, they're going to be talking, they might swear here and there, so if that offends you, either grow up or get a little permission from mom and dad.
All right, race fans, episode 221. Ryan Aho, Coach Kraus, and we got my right-hand man, Changa, in the house. Jim, how you doing, man? Long time no see. How's things up in the Northland? You still got snow up there in the Twin Ports?
We got no snow. It's, 35, beautiful, ready to get the racing season rolling up here as long as you got a parka.
Yeah, fair enough. I heard they might have a little practice up there at Superior, possibly tomorrow night. I heard there might be some guys going up there testing, so you can keep an eye on that. It's Tuesday right now. I heard some people maybe coming up on Wednesday. Coach Kraus down in Alexandria. I don't know. I should give you a donkey award, but then I got to give myself one as well. You were in Ohio. You were talking about going racing. You never did. I talked about going racing. I never did. We're just a bunch of failures, I got to admit.
So, I got an excuse, but Atomic rained out. So they were gonna run Saturday, and it was only about a 45-minute drive. I was thinking about going down there. So, but I was coaching, so I actually had assignments. I had to coach a couple teams this weekend in Columbus. So had a good trip. Back to reality now. Just got back from sitting outside in the frozen tundra, watching a girls softball game, watching my daughter play softball. Completely frozen right now. So trying to warm up.
I can literally picture you doing like what happened at the New York Yankees game. I don't know if you saw that here yesterday. Did you guys see that? Kraus, did you see that? New York
No, I
Yankees,
didn't.
first inning, there's somebody up in the crowd. I can picture this being you. You're that guy. Literally John at the ump, right? Just chewing the ump's ass. A fan, right? The ump thought it was Aaron Judge, the manager for the Yankees, threw him out of the game. He's like, I didn't fucking say nothing. He's like, I don't care. He's like, what do you mean I don't care? I didn't say nothing. I might go to an Alexandria Blizzard game. Like, and in fact, here's the deal. Listeners, next year, we all need to go to Alexandria Blizzard games, whether they're home or on the road, and we need to start fucking hollering and then pointing at Kraus, see if we can get him kicked out of the game. That's our new challenge right there. So, yeah, Bert not here, so you can see me and Changa got the purple on. I know we had a fan say, I'm not watching any shows when you guys are wearing purple hats. It is.
I don't have any purple on.
Yeah, we do have the podcast version, so you can listen if you don't like that. It's draft week. We had to kick Bert out for this week because it's draft week in the NFL. He's a Packer fan. Can't have any of that stuff going on. Vikings, as you guys said, going to trade away about 9 picks or whatever to move up to maybe 6. We can see that happening. But yeah, she'll be interesting. We'll get to some racing, of course. This week's show brought to you by Impact Health Sharing. So if you're self-employed, if you're a farmer, realtor, direct sales, if you own a business and you have employees, you've got a family, if you're paying for your own health insurance and you're like, we never barely go to the doctor, we're pretty healthy, we're paying way too much, I'm sick of it. Or if you do go to the doctor and you have to be in network and got to go to a specific doctor, we don't got any of that. We might be able to help you out. Impact Health Sharing has been a great product, saving people thousands of dollars a year on their health insurance. And the fact is, if you can keep a lot of that money in your pocket, you can spend it on cool kid shit like race cars and racetrack tickets and racing stuff. That's a lot better than spending it on insurance. So we talked about, we got draft week coming up. Bert had some stuff going on. He's doing family duty. He went, I think it was his grandkids play. I think he's all being grandpa, so that's pretty. You got to do that stuff. But let's start with some fan questions. So I got one from Eric. I got a few here. I got one from Eric, and big fan, Northern Minnesota, and he said, any word on what's going on with Greenbush Race Park up in northern Minnesota. I've never been there. One of the few WISSOTA tracks that I've never been to. I regret that now because I know TPO said that place is awesome. So did Gresseth. He said that place is great. I've never been there, and I should have got up there. But everything I'm hearing right now, guys, is the owners, the Wall family, I believe, owns it. They're looking. They want somebody to promote it, but there's nobody taking it, right? There's nobody saying, hey, pick me. I want to go out and be a racetrack promoter. So this sounds like they don't have the time. And if they can find somebody to promote it, they might open up. But that's all I heard. Kraus, you hearing anything in your neck of the woods on Greenbush?
No, I haven't heard a word either. So, like you said, basically just what you've heard. Everything I've heard is that they're not operating and not going to run. So I'm in the same boat as you. Never been up there as well. Never been. I know we were going to go watch. I think they had I don't know if they had a Challenge Series race or a Moonshine race or something. We were going to, Man Bun Dan and I were going to go up there and watch, but we never got up there last year. So that year, I've heard about the same thing as you, and not really a lot of new rumblings or what's going on up there.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'd love to see the place get back going again. I know there's some pretty darn good racers up there now. Aaron Holton, a modified driver, said, hey, I'm a hockey guy. He was down in Hibbing at the Fairgrounds Arena, and he said, man, I'm right by the Hibbing Raceway. He goes, if Greenbush ain't running, I might have to come down this year. So Greenbush racers, Saturday nights, Hibbing Raceway, Viking Speedway, come on down. There's other alternatives. Maybe this is the year to go check out some different racetracks. So Jeremy sent one over. Here's an interesting question. I don't know if either of you have the answer. I do not. And hopefully maybe somebody in the comments section, maybe they have the answer. He said, I've been posting some pictures on the page. I'm up to 40, 41 tomorrow. And he said back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you guys know who Lee Greenwood is, right? He what is it? God bless America? God bless the USA or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
God bless the USA. He said that back in the late 90s, early 2000s, he raced a super stock or made some laps in a super stock at Cedar Lake in a yellow 8 or 9 Leinenkugel super stock. Do you guys remember that? I don't remember him ever being in a car. They've had some cool shit at Cedar Lake, let's be honest. But if anybody knows anything about that, hit us up, post in the comments. I'd love to hear about it because that kind of stuff's pretty cool. But who are any neat stories on maybe somebody that you guys have seen in a race car, right? That it's like, well, that guy don't normally race. That kind of stuck out, and you're like, well, shit, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, my first one would have been Ken Schrader at Viking Speedway. I believe he was at one of the Busch All-Star Tour events. You guys remember the Busch All-Star Tour back in the day with the Kaziskis and Roger Dolan and Steve Frazee. Jeff Hinkelmeyer was a full-time person in that. I believe it was 1987 because I know my dad won that night. I won the junior fan that night. I was 9 years old. And I remember it like it was I basically remember like it was yesterday. And then I remember I was the first guy down in Ken Schrader, and he was handing out he had NASCAR pictures. He's handing those out, and you can get his autograph. And that was one of my kind of big things, first things of realizing. And then, then you see Ken Schrader later on. I saw him up at I-94, and you get to see him all over the place. So it was always cool back then. I think that's kind of wore off these days, just because Kyle Larson races everywhere, and everybody's kind of running everything these days, it kind of seems like. So my first thing when I was young growing up the racetrack was seeing Ken Schrader at Viking Speedway.
Well, Kyle Busch, I don't know that it's necessarily wearing off. I think the Kyle Larson deal is because he's around so much, but Kyle Busch was at racing a go-kart in Arizona last year. It was completely standing room only. They ran out of seats. So if it's somebody that's not really out there much, I think you can still pack the place. Changa, how about you? I mean, you've been to a lot of races. I mean, other than Jeff Krause, I mean, who are some celebrities that you've seen in a race car that you're like, well, that was kind of a cool deal?
Well, I think the most fun one I ever had was Tony Stewart down at Cedar Lake when you got to spin him out and then he could throw his helmet at another guy,
That was pretty good.
Of course, they gave him an hour and a half to fix his car so he'd get back out there. But
True. That place was jam packed, and he was kind of the Kyle Larson before Kyle Larson was Kyle Larson. I mean, he's very talented and absolutely packed the place. Yeah, there's been a bunch. The Dukes of Hazzard. What is it? John Schneider. I've never seen him in person, but I learned this here a couple years ago. He runs a modified once in a while. So thinking back to our childhood days, you got the Dukes of Hazzard. You got was he Luke or Bo Duke? Bo Duke, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so Bo Duke runs a modified every once in a while.
All that bootlegging paid off.
Absolutely. So, yeah, if anybody knows about Lee Greenwood in a super stock, if you have pictures or story, punch the buttons. Let us know. Jerry has one here with soda, little with soda stuff. So, I don't know if you guys have noticed on Facebook, there's been a ton of stuff, right? I mean, I think that's Chris Steppen in charge of that deal. I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive. And I gotta give him a little kudos because there's been a lot of steam on the Challenge Series side of things, right? As far as new sponsors and promoting the drivers and just a lot of buzz out there. There's really been nothing as far as anything else goes with Soda. And he says, do they realize that late models are not the only WISSOTA class? Kraus, your thoughts as a promoter, a super stock guy? I mean, we don't want to deter the Challenge Series from doing everything they're doing, right? But on the flip side of that, is it a little bit kind of weird that they're not really promoting any other sponsors, any other thing to do with WISSOTA, other tracks? I mean, I get it, that's their premier series, but there's a lot of WISSOTA classes out there. You got to give them some love too. What is your thoughts?
Yeah, I get that. I was thinking about this. I saw the question today. You can go both ways on this, Ryan, and you hit the nail on the head about it. First off, it's the premier class in WISSOTA, okay? And me looking at this right now, going, this is awesome because Challenge Series is coming 994 and Viking Speedway the first weekend. So from a motor standpoint, hey, I'm glad that they're doing this and doing things this way. And I look at it from the other standpoint going, and first off, this should be the WISSOTA's premier series. It 100% should be. In my personal opinion, there's nothing wrong with the Street Stock Tour. There's nothing wrong with the Northland Super Stock Tour. There's nothing wrong with the Midwest Mod Rebel Tour. The mod guys are running specials nonstop too. So I have no problems with this, with what they're doing. And after we all know they lost a bunch of money last year, they're trying to turn things around. They made some changes. And I think just the way the late models are going now, especially with guys, TPO and Becker and Searing, and, you're getting some big time guys there, and you still have your Cantas and your Doors and your Demels and all those guys, and trying to get all these guys together. And your up north guys, those up north guys, you really haven't seen much lately, Ryan. Provenzino and Peterlin and Hansen and whoever, all those guys getting together. So I think it's a good thing. At the end of the day, yes, you do need to be promoting the rest of the guys too. But being the premier division, and it's basically that Challenge Series is basically going to be opening weekend in a lot of places. No one's racing right now. There's been a couple here and there. Everybody's getting rained out. Weather doesn't look good this week, so I like it. Let's just hope they spread, like you said, you got to spread the wealth a little bit too. You got to keep other people involved. But I think at the end of the day, Ryan, from a fan standpoint, you want to see late models. They're the fast cars. They're the big cars. Like I said, first time I brought the Challenge Series back here in a long time, the first question I got is Doran Canta going to be there? You know what I mean? So there's people out there that know these guys and they want to see them. So I looked at this the both ways. It's good. I'm glad they're doing it. But hey, let's not forget about the smaller guys too, and hopefully they promote everybody.
Changa, any thoughts on that? I know you're a big late model guy, but you're the crew chief on a super stock team for quite a while. I mean, we don't want to deter them from doing anything they're doing with the Challenge Series, but should they be giving more love to the drivers in other classes? It's like they don't even get mentioned.
Well, it's hard to follow up on that long-winded answer Kraus just had, but, I think he's right. I mean, when the Premier Series gets more drivers following it, more fans following it, it's only good for all the other classes. There's support classes at every track. Quite honestly, they might put on a better show every night. The super stocks are going to have their nights to shine with the Fast Lane Super Stock Series. The Moonshine Mod Tour was unreal good last year. I think they're all going to have their time. It's just, quite honestly, that late model series is getting all the publicity right now. But I mean, they're all going to have their time to show.
Sounds good. Yeah, good answers there. Good question there. So the top question of the week here comes from Brad, but first a shout out. So I said I didn't go racing this past weekend. The reason I didn't go racing, my boy Dave, right? He doesn't have his engine yet. Should have maybe got an engine from my other friend Nick at Hard Charger Performance Specialties. He'd already have his engine. I'm just saying. So Dave, next year we know where we're going for an engine. So Hard Charger Performance Specialties, Nick Hoff out in Sydney, Montana. He's been building engines for, a couple decades for sure, if not longer. He does everything from street stocks to late models, everything in between. He builds some crate killers out there. So if you're looking to kind of beat up on the crate guys out west, he's the guy to go to. Does a lot more than engines. Also, if you're a WISSOTA guy, right, and you got to have your crate engine repaired, he is the certified crate engine repairer for WISSOTA in that neck of the woods. Got a dyno service out there, only guy within like a 500-mile radius where you can schedule dyno time. So that's a shout out right there. Hard Charger Performance Specialties, Nick Hoff, and his number, give him a call, 406-478-4437. And don't be scared of the fact that he lives in Sydney, Montana. He has some great shipping options that you can get stuff to and from him at a very reasonable rate. Does a great job. I personally have had engines from him. So this question came from Brad, specifically to Coach Kraus. It's a series of questions. So,
Boy.
All right, here we go. So first question was, is it fair to say, Coach, right, that you're kind of a WISSOTA guy, right? You're not an IMCA guy, you're not a USRA guy, you're a WISSOTA guy, right? You also are now a promoter, not just a driver. You're a WISSOTA promoter, okay? The promoters essentially voted their rights away, gave the voting rights on rules to the tech committee and kind of the board this year. But would you agree that the promoters still have a voice? They can still reach out, right? And they can, hey, we got some input, we have some rule ideas, we have some ideas. You can still have open communication and dialogue with them. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what we were told, that we'll be in on the emails. They were kind of actually going to designate some promoters to step up to the plate, say Don Shaw in the late models, myself in the supers. Does that make sense? And kind of have a little bit of say, but we are supposed to be able to still have some inside. They're supposed to do some meetings. We were supposed to still be involved.
So with that said, he goes, I have a feeling, I'm going to read this here. I have a feeling, knowing that them answers were probably coming the way they were, that Coach Kraus is in cahoots with WISSOTA. Are you the dumbass sending WISSOTA stupid-ass ideas just so they can have more stupid-ass rules so that you guys have more stuff to talk about on your dumb podcast? And his example is, he goes, cold air boxes no longer allowed in super stocks. A new late model rule comes out where they got diffusers on the back of the roof, and it said 2025, them are not going to be allowed. Hell, half the tracks don't even frickin' tech rules that are already in place, and now they're making more stupid-ass rules that probably aren't going to be teched in the first place. Is this you? Are you sending them shit because there's no racing going on right now? Are you sending them shit to come up with so we have stuff to talk about on the show? Yes or no? I don't know. This ain't me. You're the guy in cahoots with WISSOTA, not me. Is this you? Are you doing that? I'm not sure.
100% no. I am not doing that, nor would I ever do that. And funny thing, the cold air box deal, I called Gene Kockelman this morning.
So you did. This was your fault.
He's my tech guy, and I had to call him to make sure he was working. I had to make sure I had a tech guy. So I had a rule clarification about the cold air box because, of course, if you read the rule, it says the cold air box may not be below the air cleaner. Okay. So can I have a cold air box just as long as it's level with the bottom of my air cleaner? Because it's not below, right? Well, no, you know what the rule is, Ryan? No cold air boxes allowed. Period. You can't even have one. Okay. So, like I told Gene, well, then it should say that in the rule book, right? No cold air boxes allowed. You know, not here, not there. So, but no, I'm not sending in rules. That's not my job. I'm not into that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to get into that. Like I said, we can come up with our own material for podcasts pretty easy. It doesn't take too much to come up with some material for podcasts.
All right. So Brad, I don't know. I don't know if I believe him or not, but there's your answer. Tonga, do you believe him? Do you take him at his word? What are you thinking?
Oh, 100%. He looks like an honest guy to me. I mean, he's a hockey guy. I got to believe him.
All right. So I did get some clarification on the cold air box rule. I was told you can run so let's face it, there's cars that were at Menominee that won races that have almost a cold air box, but you can have a flat piece going from the radiator back to the below the air cleaner. You just can't have sides on it. And I get it, right? It's like, what are we talking about? They don't get rid of these stupid ass rules. They have enough rules. They should literally eliminate a third of the rules. It's just a headache. It's just nonsense. Just like that roof diffuser deal. A little clarification on there is actually probably going to get scrapped because that was nothing more than a discussion. And then it turned into a tech update that shouldn't have been a tech update. So look for that to change. I'm guessing that's probably going to be scrapped, but it's mind-boggling. So there you go, Brad. There's your answer. So our top 5 moments and stories of the week brought to you by another Brad Parsons, Soil and Egg Solution. So planting season is in the book, right? Planting season is here. It's happening. I know that worker bee, right? Kent, he's out there planting here this week. Said he can't get the picks in time. Can't get the picks in because he's out planting. Stop for 2 seconds. It takes 2 seconds, right? You can pick shitty picks just like I do every single week. It takes me 2 seconds to suck at this, right? So you can get them out there. But the fact of the matter is, Brad Parson has some great product. And don't take me at my word because I don't know much about farming, but he has a lot of data, a lot of information. Western Minnesota, North and South Dakota. Give him a call. His number 320-219-3542 and ask him about the product that he has that can mix right with your current spray packages that'll help you get higher yields and more money in your pocket. That's Brad Parsons, Soil and Egg Solutions. So number 5, boys, number 5. Too bad Bert's not here. He'd be shining bright, little Eastern Wisconsin love. The reigning Dirt Kings champion, Nick Anvelink, with a dominating performance at Beaver Dam. Did you guys get a chance to watch the Dirt Kings late models? Kraus, you did not. Coach, you did not. Tonga, you watched that, didn't you? The Dirt Kings?
Yeah, I watched it. It was
there was 7 freaking cautions in the first 5 laps. It was mind-boggling, right? I mean, I had people texting me going, these guys are worse than IMCA BMUs. They spin out like every lap. What are they doing? These are supposed to be the top guys. How frustrated were you on a scale of, well, we're not going to start at 1. We're going to start at, on a scale of 9 to 10. How frustrated were you that they literally couldn't even make a lap at Beaver Dam?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about streaming it to the next day. You can fast forward through all the cautions, right?
Fair enough. So the early leader in this one, Mitch McGrath, he led early, and Mullen was right behind him. Nick Anvelink was third, and it looked like it was just going to be locked down on the bottom. And he muscled up. He found something. He kind of went up top and diamonded it and found another lane. He drove by him and checked out. And is it fair to say, yeah, Mike Mullen, good race car driver. He's going to be fun to watch. Is Nick Anvelink still the mark? Is he still the man in Eastern Wisconsin late models?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if we're going off of that race, there's no question. I mean, you watch the leader jack the car in sideways every single lap, and Mullen just follows them in on the tack strip on the bottom, never once tries to even do anything different. And meanwhile, you got Anvilink searching, cleaning off the middle, cleaning it off, and then on a restart, he just drives by them both like they're parked. I mean, kind of like a good race car driver would do, right?
Yeah, he's good. He's going to be tough to beat. He's going to be fun to watch at Menominee this weekend. Coach Kraus, what do you think about Bert's prediction that Mike Mullen is going to be the Dirt Kings champion?
Well, I think he's onto something. Obviously, he's won one. He's obviously fast. He's smooth. He's going to be at every race. He's got good equipment. He's going to be there. And, like we always talk about, we want parity. We want competition. We want Anvilink to have some competition. So hopefully Bert's wrong, because at the end of the day, we get more points, and he's below us in the standings and everything. So, but it's good. It's a good series. It's a good thing to follow. And, it's good to see other guys, like I said, get some of the thunder too.
Yeah, for sure. If there's a guy that can beat Anvilink, it's him. But Anvilink is he's the man out there right now. He's won, and everybody else is searching for that spot. Number 4. There's a question for you guys. I'm going to pose this to you. So we're familiar with sports gambling, right? You got all these different platforms out there. I'm unaware, but is dirt racing, right? Is there gambling? Is Vegas involved? Mafia? Is there actual gambling, sports betting on dirt racing? Is that going on? I know that there's different stuff, like we have the pick'ems and they have dirt draft and all that. But I mean, is there real money being bet on dirt modified racing? That you know of? I don't know of anything. I mean, I'm because if there is, I might want to participate. You guys know of anything? Because my only freaking explanation for the bullshit that happened last week in the USMTS racing is that Vegas or the Mafia has to be allowed, right? Did somebody get a hold of Todd Staley and say, look, Jake Tim, he's getting too much of a lead here. We're going to have to shave some points here. He's getting too much of a lead. We got to find a way to fuck this guy, right, out of some points. We got to keep the points battle closer. Are they trying to keep it close? Is this a money thing? Is this just a straight up donkey award? I mean, your co-host on the Dirt podcast, right, Man Bundan, he's like, this is why IMCA is better than USRA and USMTS.
Oh, God.
This is why he's an IMCA guy. I don't agree. I think USMTS is the elite, but he's like, this is why Todd Staley gets a donkey award. IMCA doesn't pull this shit. They don't take a Minnesota guy and say, hey, he's getting too much of a lead. Let's find a way to screw him over. They don't do that. That's my only explanation. So here's what happened. So Jake Tim heat raced Friday night. I think it was at Arrowhead Speedway. Couple sliders flopped early in the race. The track was pretty heavy, a little narrow, and he threw a pretty much haymaker, and he got crossed over early. And then he went to throw another slider. And Kraus, you've been in a race car. You throw a slider, and you're like, oh shit, that ain't gonna clear, right? So then you kind of whoa up, you grab the brake, and if that, thinking like, if I don't clear, I'm gonna KO that guy into the fence. Well, he checks up, and the leader was gonna try to cross underneath him and drove right into the back of him. No yellow, mind you, right? No yellow, no caution. That guy literally lost a couple spots, fell to third. Jake Tim got the lead. I don't remember who got second in that deal. They go on, they finish the race, no harm, no foul. It wasn't, in my opinion, overly aggressive. Yeah, he threw it in there, but then he checked up, kind of trying to, not KO him into the fence. The race comes to an end. Jake Tim rolls. He comes off the scales, and he, leaves there in a hurry, and the photographers down in the infield stop. Hey, we got to get an interview. And they're like, oh, wait a second here. We got a different winner. They dock Jake Tim 2 positions for an aggressive slide job maneuver in the heat race. Now, as Bert said, this is a series, and all the other national series, they don't even make judgment calls when there is a yellow, right? It's like whoever stops on the track. Now they're making a judgment call when there's not a yellow, and we're just going to dock a guy and make him start deep in the feature. It was the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever seen. This is ridiculous. Your guys' thoughts on this?
Oh, God, I've got thoughts.
All right, let's hear it.
Well, I mean, this is a series where you can throw a slide job, punt the guy through the wall, he can roll over, and you get your spot back because they got a no-fault rule. So you throw a slider on him, clear him, don't wreck nobody. The race keeps going, and now you get sent to the back. I mean, perhaps there is something to the Vegas deal there. It makes no sense to me. You don't wreck the guy and you get docked 2 spots.
Yeah, that's my only explanation. Maybe the mafia, maybe somebody's in on it. There's got to be a fix. I'm not sure. Coach Krause, your thoughts?
Yeah, I got 2 things. One thing we didn't talk about today on the phone, Ryan, is USMTS is passing points, correct?
It is.
So they are promoting passing in heat races. Okay, and a guy goes to pass somebody. Okay, and Jake Tim was the nice guy here. He actually he thought he was going to wallop. I can't remember who was up on the outside there. Jake Tim stopped in the middle of the corner, and what's his face was already committed to diming him because he thought he was going to end up complete the slider, and he ran into him. And it was 100% a racing deal, but it's passing points. You promote passing. Okay. The other thing is that there's no way that there wasn't a group of drivers, someone's butthurt about Jake Tim whooping their butts. They don't like the way he drives. He's too aggressive. Someone said something to Staley, whether it was a group of drivers, some veteran drivers, some USMTS veterans that are like, you know what, you got to do something about this. And then they saw their opportunity and they did something, because there's no way he comes up with on his own. There's no way. Another group of drivers had to say something. No different Mark Richards saying something about the tire deal out in Volusia. Someone, driver, an owner had said something to USMTS, said, we got to do something about Jake Tim. They saw their opportunity and they did it. And like you both said, it was complete BS.
Yeah, now we're going to keep notice, right? Because I will say this. Here's a tip of the cap to Jake Tim. A lot of kids, his age group, would be all over social media bitching about how he got screwed. He did not, right? Professional, right? His dad, they own a racetrack. He literally kept it off social media. He went on. He was all business. I'm going to go out there and race. Never said another word about it. I guarantee he was pissed, but he didn't make a big deal. So that's professional right there. That's what champions are made of. Now, I'm going to personally keep track because we watch every USMTS race. It is clearly the most entertaining modified racing in the country. It's a great series. But there's a lot of slide jobs. Happens multiple times a night, every night. We are going to keep track to see if there's a slide job gone bad where there wasn't a yellow, if they docked other people moving forward, or if this was a one-time deal where Jake Tim had a target on his back. So, fans, punch the buttons below, right? What's your thoughts on this deal? You got our thoughts, right? What do you think about this deal that happened with Jake Tim? Number 3, little World of Outlaw sprint car action. Paducah International Speedway, Friday night. I'm going to go with focus, dude, right? David Gravel had an absolute meltdown. Now, what happened? They're throwing haymakers literally from lap 1 up until that point. They're throwing sliders. There's a big, wide racetrack, throwing haymakers at each other, crossing each other over. And who was it? It was Buddy Kofoid went to throw he did a 2-for-1 and 3 and 4, threw a big slider, cleared both of them. It was Bill Baylog and David Gravel. Well, he cleared them, and both of them drivers turned down the hill underneath them at the same time. Gravel and Baylog connect. Gravel goes upside down along with Brock Zierfuss. Well, the red comes out, as it should with rollovers, right? But one thing we know, and we've seen this all the time, one of my favorite things about World of Outlaw sprint car action is they can roll over, and literally, like, the crew has the car back together in just a couple minutes. It's like insane watching how fast they work, and bam, the car's back out on the track. The crowd's going nuts, right? Well, David Gravel gets out of his car, runs with his helmet on, all the way across the racetrack, inside a Colpoy's car, chewing his ass inside of his car. And meanwhile, Brock Zierfuss is on the other side going, get me to the pits. I want to get my shit fixed, get back out here. Gravel did not make it back out. Brock Zierfuss, in the same wreck, car looked about the same. He did make it back out. If David Gravel goes on to lose the championship by 10 points, right, or whatever, to Donnie Schatz, is he going to look back at this and be like, oh my God, I literally maybe could have got back on there and gained a few spots and salvaged some points? How much of a dumbass moment was this for David Gravel?
Yeah, it definitely was, Ryan, especially when you're running for a championship. You got to be smart about things. And, like we talked about earlier, you can go in the pits. If you're done, you're done. Okay. Then you can go do something dumb. You know what I mean? If you're getting hauled away, then you can go do something dumb. And, the other thing to me is, you know what? That's David Gravel. He's kind of cocky. He's arrogant. He's the point leader. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go tell Buddy Koifoed what I think of him. And heat of the moment, Ryan, you've been there. I've been there. Heat of the moment. Usually, as a driver, if you're done, you get wrecked, you're done. But like you said, the sprint cars, let's get going again. So, hey, stay in it. Get a license plate number. You can get them next time. Wait for them to come in the pits. You can do. There's other things you can do, especially like you said, they just kind of simultaneous rolled. They could have got that thing back together. So, being a coach, you always look back in the season. We gave up a point there. We gave up a point there. All of a sudden, you miss the playoffs by 1 point. And you're like, oh, God, man, look, we should have done this. So hopefully it doesn't come back to haunt him, but it didn't surprise me that he'd do something like that.
Changa, so let's say that we're in the same situation, and I get in the pits after it's all said and done, and you're looking at the car, and you're like, we could have got back out there, right? And all of a sudden you look back at that end of the year, we lose by 10 points. How pissed off are you?
Well, I guarantee you'd have been the guy probably trying to march across the pits and go fight someone, or at least pretend to fight someone when, it got 10 tough pit guys behind your back. But I'd have probably been the one yelling at you to don't be an idiot and get back in the car. I'll get this thing fixed too, But going back to what you and him said, I mean, it was a racing deal there. I mean, I don't know that anybody did anything wrong. It was a racing deal, and I think Jeff's right. I mean, he probably knew the car wasn't going to get fixed in time, and he was just bitter about it and had to go complain. But I'm also kind of happy about it because our local hero closed the gap a little bit on him anyhow.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, Ryan, I forgot to mention, that wasn't even Koifoed's fault. I don't know. It was his own. All he had to do was lift. All Gravel had to do was lift, fight to live another corner. He'd been fine. It wasn't even Koifoed's fault. Koifoed did his job. He cleared everybody, and the second place guy came down, and Gravel drove right into him. So I mean, maybe he was mad about himself for doing a bonehead move, but it wasn't Buddy Koifoed's fault.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if somebody brings that up in the next weekend and be like, all right, if there's an apology that comes out, because he's got to look back at that on the video and be like, I think I messed up. Back when we raced, right, or back when I raced, Carlson's still racing, we didn't have all that live streaming and video and all that stuff. We could do dumb shit and be like, he absolutely did that, and be like, well, I don't know, I didn't see it. Now the whole world sees it, and you're like, oh shit, I think maybe I messed up there. So I guess, yeah, heat of the moment, things happen, but man, oh man, I mean, you look at how fast them crews get them cars back out. I mean, changing axles, changing wings, front wings, and shocks and everything. It's unbelievable. I don't know. He might have made it back out there. This could end up costing, and like Changa said, I hope it does. I would rather see Donnie Schatz win the points than David Gravel. Just saying. Number 2, let's stick with sprint cars, but let's go to Krause's favorite series, the High Limit Racing Series. And we have a liftoff. Did you guys see Brad Sweet try to send, I don't know if he tried to send, but nearly sent J-Mac all the way back to Australia? I mean, holy shit, right? Your guys' thoughts on that deal? That was crazy.
Yeah. I think Sweet said, I'm trying to run a series. I've been struggling a little bit. And now if you don't want to get run over, get off the tracks, right?
He did apologize for it in Victory Lane, but
that's the noble way to do it.
Right, that's
called, and then apologize. That's easy.
We'll call that the Brad Sang moment, being a polite dickhead, right? I remember Brad Sang getting a flat tire and getting a win. He's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry, I'll buy you a tire." It's like, well, you already got the freaking win. Like, you keep your tire. I want the points. Like, what are you talking about? But Kraus, when you saw that, I mean, that was kind of a wicked rollover. Your thoughts on that whole deal?
That was a really wicked rollover. And when you first saw it, I was like, oh boy. And then you watch the replay. And like J-Mac said, he goes, they interviewed him right afterward. Did you guys see that? I mean, they interviewed him right on the banking of where he rolled. He's like, I was just in the air. I'm like, he thought it was done. And all of a sudden I started rolling. And he got him good. And they're old teammates. So they're good friends. Brad Sweet said that, and they're really good friends, actually. And, the down in Victory Lane, the guy asked Sweet a question about the race, and he said, no. I need to apologize to J-Mac for doing that. I don't know what happened. I got in too hard, got a little tight. I did not mean, he felt really, really bad. And I believe him. I get that. And, tough deal, your series. And like Chonga said, hasn't been really winning lately and wants to win. And he's hungry now. He's got a couple in a row. So hopefully we'll see. Let's see if he's true to his word. And if he keeps racing like that, well, then someone's going to have to take matters into their own hands. But, I'm like I said, I'm not much of a Brad Sweet fan anyway, but he felt really, really bad to do that to a good friend.
In other news, the no fault caution rule still sucks, right? Because he got the lead back, goes on to win the race. It's like, I mean, he knew he caused it, but it's like, oh my God. I mean, like, you look at that and it's like, how the hell did he get a spot back? But that's the rule, right? I was talking to my buddy John, and he says, the no fault caution rule, we all hate it, but you'd rather have the drivers fighting together than fighting with the series, right? Because anytime there's a call, you're always going to feel like if it's on you, it's the wrong call. Then you're mad at the series. You quit racing the series. You go race the other one. So I can kind of see that side of it. So our top moment of the week brought to you by our friends over at Fast Lane Motorsports and Powder Coating up in Ashland, Wisconsin. Proud sponsor of the #1 series in all of Wissota racing, not the Challenge Series, the Northland Superstock Series. That is #1. It just is what it is. Home of the Gallup chassis, custom powder coating, sandblasting, fabricating. Chris and the crew, great people up in Ashland, Wisconsin. Give them a call up at Fast Lane Motorsports. So, the photo finish of the week. We get back to USMTS racing. This was a good race. I mean, night #2 of USMTS action down at Tri-State in Pensacola, Oklahoma, Saturday night. The last 10 laps of that, if you haven't seen it, jump on to Racing Dirt. Unbelievable last 10 laps of that race. The defending USMTS national champion with a last corner Hail Mary on his buddy Tyler Wolf to take the win on the high side. Your thoughts on the ending to that race?
Yeah, you want me to go first?
Sure.
So, you go back to about 11 or 12 laps to go. You had a good battle there, and I don't know what happened, but Tim's running the outside, battling for the lead, and I don't know what happened. He just slowed down, and Ebert got inside of him and piled into his left rear, and that might have been the whole deal that changed that race, because I think it bent up Ebert's front end and maybe even knocked Tim's car out of whack, and maybe robbed Tim of a chance to win that race. And you get the yellow afterwards, and the rest is history. Sanders drives it in there wide open with his hair on fire and steals one from the boys.
Yeah, Tim got tight. He got really tight on entry, and he started pushing, having to snap it, and he got dead sideways in front of Dan Ebert. Ebert had nowhere to go, and somehow both of them saved it. Neither one of them DNF'd because of it, but that could have been really ugly for drivers 1 and 2 in the point standings. But I tell you what, the winner, right, Rodney Sanders, plus 13. So he came from 14th. Tyler Wolf came from 15th. So both of them plus 13. That's how this USMTS racing has been. Now, he's actually the 7th winner of the year in 8 races. So you talk about, Coach, you talk about parity. There's parity. Did you know that's his first podium of the year?
Yeah, I did. That was the only thing I was going to say. I forgot to watch that today, Ryan. I didn't see that at all. That's a big confidence booster for Mr. Sanders. Especially he's been struggling a little bit. All of a sudden you get your first podium. You come from deep in the field. You put on a good show and pass some good cars. So it's going to be interesting to see how he responds from this. And maybe they woke a sleeping giant there.
Yeah, I tell you what, I mean, that was a power move. I mean, he had to bring it as hard as he possibly could in the 3 on the last lap. And there was a lot of guys that were hitting that and kind of jumping the cushion, and he had to hit it just right. And he edged them. Very, very good finish in USMTS action. So let's jump into some closing thoughts on this week's racing from a few of the events. Brought to you by one of our favorite chassis builders out there, Coach Kraus.
Yes, Turbine Chassis and Flat Out Performance in Hancock, Minnesota. Make sure if you got any needs, fabricating needs, builds modified super stocks. I know he's gotten street stocks a little bit. He can build Midwest mods as well. It's great guys, great pricing. I'm going to say that too. He's got great prices over there. Make sure if you need anything done, get a hold of Jeff Flatten at Flat Out Performance and Turbine Chassis.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. So let's start with a little buggy action. So there was some high limit stuff going on. There was World of Outlaw stuff. Coach Kraus, other than what we talked about already, anything else stick out to you in the sprint car world this past week?
Yeah, we got to talk about Sheldon Honchild. Wins Friday. Okay. He's in 5th place with 21 laps to go. And I went and checked lap times today. Ryan, you got to remember, he restarted dead last and got ace. Okay. He had the fastest lap of the race on lap 33. The fastest lap of the race was on lap. You never see that. And what do we talk about Sheldon Honchild? Consistency. Live to fight another day. All he had to do, he roasted it on the bottom, 21 to go underneath somebody and spun out in 5th place. Would have had a podium finish for sure. That's one thing we got to learn here. We've been preaching to Sheldon, consistency, but he's got that mindset right now. It's checkers or wreckers, which, like I said, it's kind of biting him. So that was my one takeaway. I wanted to see how he did, and I was watching the replay. He spins out, and then he was by far the fastest car on the track at the end of that race. It wasn't even close. So he might have won back to back there. So that was my one takeaway from the weekend.
Yeah, he could have the fastest lap and the slowest lap in the same race. That's just the way he rolls. Super fun to watch. Probably one of my favorite guys to watch, but my goodness, guy. Like, let's relax just a little bit. Changa, buggy action. What do you got?
Oh, I got a whole bunch of things with the buggies here this weekend. Well, first thing, obviously Brad Sweet's back on track. Back up to second in the points. He's only 14 behind Courtney for the lead, and he's figured out how to win again. And maybe he's putting some of that other onus on Kyle Larson to run the series, apparently, right? Donnie Schatz had a big opportunity to gain some serious ground, and he was just slow all weekend long. He couldn't get out of his own way. Just a mid-pack guy. The Baconator bringing her home checker. How about that one, right?
2 years in a row at Hofstad for him.
Right. Baylog again, a podium and a 6th place finish. Your guy moving on up the ladder. World of Outlaws, 15 races, 10 different winners. Right. So a lot of parity going there. Right. High limit, same thing. 9 races, 6 different winners. So a lot of parity going on in both classes.
I tell you what, and that's Coach Kraus, you said that earlier already. That's what racing needs. That's what we want. We don't want that one dominant guy. Like, you look at it and it's like World of Outlaws. It's like, well, Bobby Pierce can win every night. We like Pierce, but we want to see different guys winning. It's just better for racing. Another thing here, Tyler Courtney, who's second in points in the high limit. I don't know what he's doing early on in the show, but he was plus 10 and plus 15. So, he's been one of the fastest guys all year, and but he's on the outside looking in. Tuesday, Corey Day won last week, Corey Day. And I don't remember, what's that high limit, the fan deal called, the high roller or whatever it is, where the fan matches up. Corey Day, I think he's the only driver to win that this year where the fan actually walks away. That's kind of a cool deal that they do. Every night in the high limit deal, a fan has an opportunity to walk away with some cash, and that night they did. You talked about Sweet. Looking at the points right here, it is 68 points separates the top 5 in World of Outlaws right now. David Gravel laid an egg on that night one. I get it. Maybe it wasn't his fault that he rolled over, but he basically got second to last. That was a big hit on the points. And you're right. If Schatz can go on and and have even a couple top fives, they might be tied right now going into Knoxville. Both them guys good. Donnie Scott's really good at Knoxville. So very, very interesting stuff in the world of sprint car racing. Late model action this past week. There was a few regional stuff going on. The main thing that we kind of watched this past weekend, World of Outlaw late models at Talladega. They had the Alabama Gang 100. Night one, they did split features. So dumb. Not a fan, but whatever. Night two, they ended up raining out. I think they got the heats in, but they rained out the features. That's going to be made up later. But what stuck out to you guys from the World of Outlaw late model action here at Talladega from night one? Either one of you, whoever wants to start first. Coach, why don't you go ahead and start?
Well, I think my big takeaway was Bobby Pierce sitting in the stands on his phone on Snapchat, sending out some snaps watching the sprint car feature when he probably should have been on the track. So, I was thinking about this, Ryan.
Fill everybody in. What happened there?
So this was the second feature, correct? The second late model feature. And they're racing, going along, and starts raining, starts sprinkling or something. They decided to cut the late model race 7 lap shorts, correct? Was it 7 lap short?
Yeah, they ended at lap 17, so that'd be 8 laps short, I think.
So 8 laps short. They cut the race through the checkered, and they brought the sprint cars out because they wanted there was some sprint car special, and they wanted to see everybody wanted to see the sprint cars. Well, they got the sprint car feature in, and all the late model guys are going, well, wait a minute here. Well, why do we get shafted on this deal? And do we get hosed? So from a promoter standpoint, you're caught between a rock and a hard place. Okay, you 100% are. But you have to finish the late model feature. You know what I mean? You can't just all of a sudden, we're going to get the sprint cars in. Well, they would have got in regardless, right? Because it didn't rain much after that, and Pierce was pretty upset. He was the only vocal one. He's, like I said, he wants the attention on Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and whatever else he's on there. So that was a super interesting deal, but it's tough as a promoter, man. It's super tough.
Well, the big thing is the top 3 from each of the features night one got locked in, and Pierce was on the outside looking in. Now he got 4th or 5th in that feature. But in the first feature, I mean, you want to talk, there's 3 drivers that aren't nationally known names that really ran good. Dylan Knowles in the 66. Now, the track, I don't know if it was because of rain or whatever, but there was a lot of moisture. It was kind of a cowboy up deal. Kind of reminded me of a Fairbury type track where they're just yard sailing it in there on a bull ring. Dylan Knowles, Brandon Overton, and 15-year-old Trey Mills was the top 3 in the first one. The second one, I don't know if you guys saw what happened on literally lap 1, but the 20 RT absolutely pile drove Jimmy Owens. Now, Owens kind of come down. They got together. They both spin around. Original restart. I'll come back to that. The top 3 at the end of the race, though, Max McLaughlin, not really his first win because it's a split feature, but kind of his first win. And then Ricky Thornton Jr. got second. Sam Seawright, a local down there, got third. Your thoughts on original restart? So Ricky Thornton Jr. gets into Jimmy Owens. Both of them go around. They go yellow. On the ensuing restart, I'm like, they both got their spots back. What is your thoughts in a series, right, that literally they don't call anything on anybody? If you stop, you go to the back, unless it's on the first lap. Your thoughts on everybody getting their spots back on an original restart?
Well, I guess my thoughts are maybe the World of Outlaws needs to hire Tom Nesbitt to come in and make the calls on that.
Yeah, he might get hauled off by the who's call there. I remember. Were you there? Were you there with us in Casson, Tonga, when that happened?
Oh God, I don't know. That's so many years ago. I couldn't even remember if I was there.
Kraus, do you know what he's talking about there?
No, I don't.
So 02 or 03, we're down in Casson for a Challenge Series show, and somebody in the front 3 got together, and yellow comes out. Now, this was not an original start. This was partway into the race, but Nesbitt's like in 4th. I'm in 5th. I'm right behind Nesbitt, and he stops in the front straightaway because they're not putting anybody in the back. They're like, well, we don't really know who it was. everybody gets their spot back. Nesbitt's chewing ass, right? He's like, somebody's going to the freaking back. Put them both to the back. Do whatever you got. You can't give them both their spots back. What are you doing, right? He gets out of his car, ends up shoving the record driver because they tried to hook up the car. The cops came and they chased him out of there, needless to say. Well, somebody went to the back. It was Nesbitt because they kicked him off the racetrack, right? And it's like kind of his thought process on that whole deal is you got to call it on somebody. And I get it. That's the rule in the world of outlaws. But, I mean, Kraus, if you're starting third inside, I mean, are you going to just yard sale everybody in the first corner and slide job? And if they all crash behind you, that's their problem because you get a freebie anyway. I mean, what are we talking about?
Well, to a point, I definitely think you can be more aggressive. And obviously, you can't wreck your car because you got to finish. But it's funny you don't see more guys be aggressive. You do at like Eldora. There are some places where you can be. But interesting rule. In fact, that's a no-fault rule, but yet multiple car pile-up, first corner, everybody gets their spot back if you're able to continue. So, do they do that because of the qualifying? Do you know what I mean? Is it hey, the fast guys are up front qualifying, the guys that struggled in qualifying, maybe we're going to let them get a little bit more aggressive on the start and they can be more aggressive in 1 and 2. I have no idea why they do that. So it's funny it doesn't happen more often where guys in the back are, hey, let's go. Let's be a little bit more aggressive. And hey, if you keep going, you tear some other cars up. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Let her buck. Changa, any other thoughts here that we haven't covered on the late model action from Talladega?
Other than the fact that you run 17 out of 25 laps and, probably you run the whole race, Pierce is in the top 3 and sitting up front for a feature. And, he's trying to track down the leader after a tire gate happened. And, it's just going to make it a little tougher, right?
I think it'll be more exciting. As a fan, I'd rather see Pierce start a little further back anyway. So it'll probably be more exciting. So that's probably a win for us as race fans because it's Bobby Pierce. He's going to go to the front anyway. It's what he does. USMTS mod action, we talked a little bit about, of course, Rocket Rodney Sanders. They raced this weekend at Arrowhead and at Pecola. Night number 1 went to, I don't know how to say it without just saying it, the ugliest car in the USMTS field, Jim Chisholm. That thing is hideous. Like, I know Stevie Wonder maybe kind of like designed that thing. Like, do better. I mean, he's had some pretty sweet looking hot rods. That is not one of them. Like, he should automatically get dock points for having an ugly race car. Just saying. It's fast, though. It is very fast. Jim Chisholm, Terry Phillips second, and we have a Jake O'Neill sighting in the USMTS, plus 16, 17th to 3rd. Dan Ebert, plus 13 to 4th. And then Tyler Wolf. Now, night number 1, guys, Jake Tim, remember he got that bad call in the heat race? He broke in the feature, but still finished. So, Bert touched on this in a previous show that even when shit's going bad, the luck is on his side. It's still going good. Changa, I don't know if you saw the picture. His fucking pull bar broke right in half. It was literally like, this. It stayed together somehow, but it was at a 90. And literally, I mean, you know what happens if a pull bar breaks? It destroys shit in the back of the car. Somehow it stayed together, and clearly that's why he got 7th and not further up. But, I mean, you want to talk about luck on your side. When a pull bar is literally bent at a 90-degree angle and doesn't break, that is luck on your side. Night number 2, we talked about it. Rodney Sanders winning, Tyler Wolf 2nd, Jake Tim 3rd, Ebert 4th. Couple 4ths there for Ebert. Solid weekend for him. The points right now, 1-2 from the Gopher State. Jake Tim, Dan Ebert, 1-2 in USMTS. So either one of you got anything to touch on that stuck out to you other than any of that from any of the USMTS stuff this past weekend?
No, I don't have anything else. I think we covered it all. I just wish that mishap between Tim and Ebert wouldn't have happened the second day, because I think it'd have been a whale of finish between them top 4 guys.
Absolutely. And I got to be honest. I mean, do we count Rodney Sanders as a pseudo Minnesota guy? Right? I mean, he's married to a Minnesota gal.
No,
so
I think that's fair.
One says no, one says yes. Kraus is like, all right. He's like, all right.
We're Where was he born and raised? Was he born and raised in Minnesota like the rest of us?
No, he was not.
Then out of our state. Bye.
I don't know. I'm looking,
cities.
I'm
you can
looking
live
at
in
that from a
cities, but you
different
can't live
aspect.
outstate.
All right, so there you have it. That's, hey, you guys punch the buttons below, Minnesota people. Do we claim him as our own, or do we not? I don't know. You let us know what you think. Right now, though, Minnesota 1, Minnesota 2. It's just the way we roll, right? That's how things work. This one's for Brad. Little nap car, Talladega, right? Now, Coach, I know you kind of watched it. Your thoughts on this melee? Your thoughts on the overall race at Talladega and NASCAR? Just super quickly, because we'll move back to dirt racing.
Well, I mean, you know what's coming at the end of the race. It just is. I didn't think McDowell needed to be that aggressive, blocking the whole track. I mean, you know what I mean? You knew there was going to be a wreck. You know, the big issue is they're running 60% the whole race and not full throttle. And there's a lot more issues than that. It's going to be a train race. The race is way too long. I get that. But that's what people want to see. The place was going crazy. It was on his feet. And I've seen multiple camera views from the stands. The people are going nuts. And that's what they want to see. And that's what they remember from the race. So I have zero issues with restrictor plates, but we got to get the rules back to where they are. I love listening to Dale Jr.'s download and having the people he calves come on there, Harvick and Hamlin, and talk about the cars and stuff like that. I just wish NASCAR would listen to those guys.
The whole going 60% throttle for like the majority of the race drives me bonkers. That is so stupid. You're shaking your head. What's your thoughts there?
Well, there were race cars, right? Let's go full throttle. And, if we got to burp it, we got to burp it. And, let's put bigger fuel cells in these things so they don't have to pit every so often. So it's a lot less, so we don't kill somebody on pit road. So you got a better chance of killing somebody on pit road than you do on the track. So it's racing. It's pedal to the metal. Like Kevin Harvick said, pedal to metal, full horsepower. Let's use it all. Let's not restrict. I get restricting at Talladega. We don't want Billy Elliott doing 230 or whatever he was doing, 212 or whatever it was that one year. So I like watching restrict plates. I hate the rule package.
Agreed. Chonga, I don't think you watched a NASCAR race, did you?
I don't even have an opinion. I haven't watched a NASCAR race since Dad died. So, I mean, it's just pointless to me.
I agree. The best NASCAR race from Talladega was Dale Earnhardt's last win. This was nothing like that. Let's just say that. So, 2024 Pick'ems brought to you by Coach Krause.
Elevate-visual.com video productions. Make sure if you need any video work done, any drone work done, if you're a realtor, and you need some drone work and some video work done, get a hold of Brandon at elevate-visual.com. He also has a Facebook page.
Yeah, he does great work. Check it out. So, one thing that I've established in this Pick'em deal is I suck at this deal. What the one freaking point? Are you shitting me? Right. So Mike and Chonga +9 this week. Curtis, the reigning champ, +8. Worker B and Man Bun Dan +6. The Jeffs each had 5. Dan had 4. Bert had 3. Brad had 2. 1 fucking point. 1. Well, I'm supposed to know what I'm talking about. Clearly, I do not. I'm just saying right now. So our point standings right now, Curtis is at 88. Chonga's catching them, though. So we talked about this. If I ain't going to win, I want him to win. He helped me win. So at the end of the day, I want to win. But obviously, I'm kind of struggling. So Chonga is second at 83. Brad at 76. Bert and Coach at 70. Dan at 69. The 71A here at 67. Worker B at 63. Man Bun Dan at 54. Good Jeff at 51. And holy shit, here he comes. Mike at 48. Only 3 points back from putting Jeff back in last place again. So this week's events that we're going to pick, we got a few. But first, a shout out to our friends at Daytona 1 Performance Lubricants. So Buck is actually the founder of Daytona 1 Performance Lubricants in the Hall of Fame, the NASA Hall of Fame specifically for lubricants. What does that mean? He's way smarter than me when it comes to this. That's what it means. They have a Facebook page. They have a website. You can check out all their information. They have a lot of great products out there, a lot of stuff. It's worth looking at. Everything from gear oils to spray lubricants, oils. They got, assembly lube, and then they got tire treatment. And their goal is to help make stuff last longer, reduce friction, gain more power, and make stuff last longer. The fact is they have the tire treatment stuff out there. And if you're a local weekend warrior racer and you're racing for $300-$400 to win, you can't put tires on every single night. They have some great products out there that allow you to run them tires longer. I know the rules might not like it, but are you going to pay $200 a piece for tires? Or are you going to be like, hey, I'm going to do what I have to do to make them last longer? That's your choice, not mine. If you want some information on that, call Chad, 507-828-3536. He is the regional representative for Daytona 1 Performance Lubricants. So, guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start off the tracks that we're picking this weekend. Each of you say who you picked for this particular race. Tonight, it's Tuesday. I don't know if they're racing right now or what they got going on. Coach, did you send in your picks yet? Did you do that?
I did.
High limit racing, 410 sprint car action tonight at Riverside. Who do you guys have? We'll go with Coach, Tonga, me is what we'll do.
Brad Sweet.
Changa?
How sweet it is.
Sunshine, Tyler Courtney. So what's going on? Is that on right now? Are you watching that, Kraus?
Yeah, they're getting ready for the feature. So Corey Day won the dash. To be honest with you, I don't even know who got second. I just know Corey Day drew the pole and drove away with the dash. And they are just about ready to get into staging from the looks of it.
All right. He's like an 18-year-old young gun or whatever. He's got a couple wins. He's pretty good. He's going to be a pretty good shoe to watch. Thursday, USRA modified action, Mississippi Thunder Speedway, 2,000 a win for USRA mods. Kind of a little precursor to the big deal that's about a month away. Who do you guys have at Mississippi Thunder Speedway?
Jake Tim.
I took Jake Tim.
I think we all took Jake Tim for Mississippi Thunder. Now, keep in mind, lots of renovations done. I saw some pictures. That track, completely different. All new material, totally different surface. Took some banking out of it. And the best thing they did is they got rid of that god-awful wall opening getting into one. That is gone. So hats off to the gang at Mississippi Thunder. They're working their ass off down there. Friday and Saturday night, World of Outlaw Sprint Cars at Knoxville. Coach?
Oh, boy, you're making me think here now of who I took. So I've been going with this different. I'm not doing same driver anymore. I don't know if it's been working or not. So I'm trying to think who I got. I have Gravel the first night and Donnie Schatz the second night.
Are you doing the show on your phone or computer?
Phone.
Okay, that's what I am tuned to. All right, Changa, who do you have?
Gravel times 2.
Yeah, I took David Sand and Gravel this time too. I didn't want to outthink it. All right. Friday and Saturday night, World of Outlaw late model action. Friday, Arrowhead Speedway. Saturday, 81 Speedway. I think maybe we all picked the same, maybe not. Kraus, Coach, who do you have? Do you know?
I have Pierce on Friday and Brandon Shepard on Saturday.
Okay. Changa, I know who you have because you said that you're going to stick with the smooth applicator every night.
I'm going to take the smooth operator every night for the whole year.
I got Bobby Pierce at both of these races as well. Now it might start shaking up a little bit. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Lucas Oil Dirt Late Models head to the Northeast. So Friday, they're at Georgetown. I think that's in Delaware. Saturday at Hagerstown. Sunday up at Port Royal. Coach.
I have RTJ Friday, Davenport Saturday, and my boy Greg Satterley on Sunday.
The truth. Greg Satterley. He's good at Port Royal.
Well, who won their last Saturday?
Did he win there?
Yes, he did.
All right. Changa?
I went with RTJ, and Mike Marlar.
I went with the mailman, Devin Moran, all 3 nights up there in the Northeast. So we all have somebody different there. He's shaking his head. Moran's been, I'm telling you, he's been running strong.
You complain about your picks, okay? And when you pick the same guy every night, that just means you have no skill. You have no skill in the pick'ems.
Well, I did last week. Every freaking time I did your deal, last week I picked 2 different guys in the World of Outlaws. Guess what? I had them freaking backwards.
Well, that's your own fault. That's your own fault. Do some research. Figure it out. Go back, check out lap times, where they finished, their career finish. You got to do some research. Yeah, it takes me 3 minutes to do my picks. Well, yeah, now we know.
I mean, let's be honest. Krause's 3 hours a day worth of research has got him 2 points ahead of you. So
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, there you have it. All right. See, he's always got my back. Friday and Saturday, USMTS modified action. Deer Creek Speedway, the makeup from the 2023 25th annual Fall Jamboree, Friday and Saturday at Deer Creek. Coach Krause.
Jake Tim, all night.
Sometimes we got to do a little research here, not just pick the same freaking guy. Like 3 modified races, you got the same freaking modified guy 3 times. What the hell are we talking about here?
I have a reason. He's got a chip on his shoulder right now, okay? He's in his hometown neck of the woods. He's going to bring all his whine and crybaby USMTS buddies up here that don't like him. He's going to mop up on them.
I see your lips moving, but I can't hear what you're saying. All right, Junga, who do you have?
Well, I put in 18 seconds worth of research to see that Rodney Sanders was fast there last year, and then, he won last week, so I went with Sanders ×2.
I went with Brandon Davis ×2 is what I went with at Deer Creek. So Brandon Davis, that's my pick. And then we have our WISSOTA race of the week. So we're going to pick a WISSOTA event every week, and there is a special event happening this Friday night. Red Cedar Speedway, Menominee, Wisconsin. They're going to have the makeup from last year's Dwayne Mader Memorial. Now, keep in mind, the late models, modified super stocks, they still have to run their Bs, but the heats are done. The features are set, at least the front so many rows. They're also going to have the Midwest mods and street stocks running a complete show. All right. So let's just go. Let's start with late models. Coach Krause.
AJ Diemel.
Changa?
Well, I'm not even sure if Diemel's got a car yet this year.
Yeah, it's done. It's wrapped. My boy Jiggy wrapped it already. If you'd follow Facebook and do your homework, it's black and chrome. And my cousin-in-law, Jiggy, wrapped it. It's done, ready to go. Do your homework, John.
I've got MySpace. I haven't gotten that Facebook thing yet, but, there's that. My heart's with Chad Mader, but I took Sammy Mars.
I'm going Chad Mader. I want to see Mader take home the Mader is what I'm doing. I'm lying. That's who I picked. I want to see Buzzy. He's outside row 2 in the 428. So if I had to pick who I want to win, I'm a Buzzy guy. But Chad Mader would be a great sentimental win. That's who I have rolling. Is he rolling off the front row or is he second inside, I think?
I know Diemel's outside pole. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Mars and Diemel, and then it's Mader and Buzzy.
Buzzy.
All right.
Daryl Nelson's outside 3, and I don't even anticipate him being there.
Yeah, there's going to be a few guys probably don't make the trip. So, Coach Krause, modified.
Buzzy.
Changa?
Kevin Buzzy Adams.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the human highlight reel myself, Kevin Buzzy Adams. Super stocks, Coach Krause.
Jesse Radetsky.
Changa?
I went with Terrence Spacek.
It's a good pick. I would like to see DJ Keeler come down from the Northland and take one back home, but I went with the hometown favorite. You got to go with the 207, Jesse Radetsky, rolling off from the outside of row number 1, starting next to a guy that already has a win, Matthew Larson, on the front row of that one with him. Midwest mods, Coach.
Blake Adams.
That's what I'd like to see win. Changa?
I went with Blake Adams.
I went with Brandon Jensen. I know he's making the trip. That 21B is super fast over there. Street stocks.
Oh, Changa. Did he just pick Brandon Jensen to win a race?
I did.
People don't forget, Ryan. Because if someone ever tore me down, I'd never pick him to win a race ever again. I'm just saying.
Valid.
Changa, are you on my side there?
I want the points. I want the points.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Street stocks.
Andrew Hansen.
Coach?
Well,
or Changa?
I went with Andrew Hansen as well.
I'm going with Kyle Jeanette, who was like plus 15 on the last race. He's really fun to watch. Very, very quick over there. So there's our picks. Now let's jump into the 3 bold predictions. Start with our accountability session from this past week. Bert had one come up. These first couple here, god dang, I don't really know what to think here. So you tell me what you think. Bert's prediction was this. Beaver Dam is going to have 3 times as many late models or more as Shawano.
Yeah.
Well, Shawano had zero because it rained out.
Yeah, that don't.
Our statistician Jeff gave him the point here.
No,
I don't know. We're gonna have to
have to both race for that to happen.
Yeah. So that kind of counts on my second one here. So mine.
But Ryan, I got a question for you. What's 3 times 0?
3 times 0 is 0. So yeah, that's fair enough.
There you go.
Good point. All right. So we might have to talk to Jeff. Punch the buttons down below there, you guys, and put it in our group chat. Jeff, like we can't be giving points away for this. All right. So I said both, and I here's what I said. Both Beaver Dam and Shawano will have less than 15 late models.
Yeah.
Because they're sharing cars. They're gonna share, I don't know. That's kind of figured if they both race, they'd have less. Well, guess what? Shawano didn't race. Beaver Dam had 23. Statistician said, I don't get that one right. So they didn't have less than 15. Your thoughts?
Yeah,
well, it is what it is. It is what
I'm not involved in that, so I you know how I feel. If they don't both race, I say they don't count at all.
All right. So we'll see what the fans say. We can talk about this in our group chat here. Good Jeff here had a couple come off the board. He said that Kyle Larson, Brad Sweet would sweep the high limit events last week. Well, if it would have been only Friday, Saturday, it would have been, but Corey Day won on Tuesday, so that did not happen. He said Jake Tim would not have a podium finish. Well, it was close because he slipped back to third, but he did get a podium on night 2, so that was incorrect. Incidentally, we all suck at this, by the way. Coach Krause, you said high limits would have 3 different winners. Brad Sweet doubled up. That was the no. And Kenny there said that the Pennsylvania Posse would get a win here with the World of Outlaws this week. That did not happen. In fact, the only Pennsylvania guy in the top 10 of either was Schuhart, and he's not a Posse guy. He's an outlaw. Oh, he said USMTS, whoever won night 1 would win night 2. That also did not happen. So we got kind of shut out here on this one, except for Birch, maybe. I don't know. We'll discuss that one. All right. So if Birch stays on, he has 10, right? He's leading the way 3 up. If not, he's at 9. Either way, Birch is still leading the way with correct picks. Win percentage, or correct percentage, the Peanut Gallery still leading the way with 23.8. Now, we have multiple of us here that have predictions. I have a couple from the Peanut Gallery. Bert not with us here this week, but I do have his. Changa's going to have some. So we're going to make 3 laps around the track. We're going to each make 3 predictions, something that's racing related that either did or did not happen, not an opinion-based deal. All right, we're going to start with Coach. We'll go to Changa, and then I'll read off everybody else's and my own. All right, your first one.
I'm going Lucas Oil for all 3 of mine just because they haven't raced in a while and I got a lot of good ones. So Greg Satterley is going to have a better average finish than Hudson O'Neal this weekend. He's going to be at all 3. So I'm going to go with the truth. Greg Satterley, better average finish than Huddy.
Have you heard what Huddy's racing?
No, I have not. Just saw a spoiler, just like everybody else did.
Interesting. We'll find that out, I guess, here in a day or two, probably, hopefully before the weekend. All right, Changa, your first prediction here. You're going to be representing the Peanut Gallery here, so you're going to be on their team. What do you got?
Well, you caught me off guard because I didn't know I was going to be doing this, so I'm going to have to just shoot from the hip. I don't know if this is bold or not, but I'm going to go Rodney Sanders, 2 podiums, or I'll make it. He gets a podium every night they race at Deer Creek this weekend.
Okay. Every night, yeah. So one night, right, might rain out, or 2 or whatever. Yeah. So every night they race, Rodney Sanders will be on the podium. It'll be a tough field of cars down there, so that's not an easy task. In fact, he's got 1 podium all year, right? So that's I'd say that's fairly bold. All right.
I have one more thing to add. While we're at it, I just wanted to say, since this is a basketball show, the Timberwolves just went up 2-0 in their playoff series.
They won. They were down last time I looked. What was the final score?
I don't know, like 103-95-ish or something.
You both hockey guys. Minnesota State of basketball.
Yeah, the State of basketball.
All right. Good Jeff here has a pretty optimistic one. Rain is going to wash out both rescheduled 2023 events. Deer Creek and Menominee are both going to rain out this weekend and not get a race in. Kenny has his first one here. World of Outlaw Sprint Car regulars, right? People that are following the series will win both nights at Knoxville this weekend. Fuck Blackjack Brian Brown. All right. Whatever that means. All right. So he's not a Brian Brown guy. All right. I added that one in there. We want shots to win, but we all pick gravel. All right. I got one here from Chris. And I don't even know if this guy's following or not, but he had a good opening night at Cedar Lake. Colin Hibden is going to be the Challenge Series champion in 2024. Wissota Late Model Challenge Series champion as a rookie, Colin Hibden.
Wow.
I think he's going to run the NLRA. I don't know if he's going to run the Challenge Series, so we'll see if we can maybe adjust that one later. All right, Bert's first pick here. Bert has 3. The Mars name is going to stay on the Mater Memorial Trophy, but not Jimmy Mars. Sammy Mars is going to take home the Mater Friday night at the Red Cedar Speedway.
Well, that's real bold.
I don't think he's going to win. I think that is bold.
Picking the pole sitter, that's bold.
Yeah, that's Bert-like. That is Bert-like. All right. I'm gonna go local racing in my neck of the woods now. A couple guys that I help out here. Dave Dolciak is gonna win double-digit A mains in 2024, and his cousin Brian Dolciak is gonna win at least 1 in the pure stock and get his first win out of the way. So Dave Dolciak double-digit, Brian Dolciak at least 1. He has 0 to this point. All right, Coach Kraus.
We're sticking Lucas Oil. 50% of the podium finishers this weekend out of all 3 shows are going to be non-Lucas Oil regulars. So basically 5 out of 9 or higher. So I'm going 50% are going to be non-Lucas Oil regulars.
Okay. That's interesting. All right, Changa.
Well, since you put me in a hard spot here, I'm going to go your pure stock buddy there, right, Brian? Brian will have more feature wins than Coach Kraus this year.
Wow. Dots across
the mind you, he's never won one before, right?
All right. No, he hasn't. All right. So Brian Dolciak, more feature wins than Coach Kraus. Wow. That's kind of good. I like that. All right. Good Jeff here. Bobby Pierce will not sweep. He will not win both nights. He will not sweep the weekend this weekend for the World of Outlaw late models. So he could win 1, but he will not sweep the weekend.
Who said that?
That's not
good,
gold.
Jeff.
No, he can stick to being a statistician, which he sucks at anyway. He's saying someone's not going to sweep the weekend in the world. Like, come on. Like, really?
We basically all picked them to sweep the weekend. So, I mean, I don't know. That's probably more bold than we give him credit for. All right. Kenny has a USMTS 1. This one is bold, on the other hand. 2 nights of action at Deer Creek this weekend. There will be 6 different drivers on the podium. So 2 nights of podiums, all 6 podium finishes will be different drivers. Nobody will have podium finish both nights.
Oh.
All right. Bert's second one here. He wants to stick with really bold stuff here. Buzzy and Blake Adams. Okay, speak, Brian. Buzzy and Blake Adams both finish on the podium at the Mater.
Ooh.
I would say if he picked them both to win would be bold, but both on the podium, he's probably going to get a point out of that one. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the guy that I've been kind of tooting his horn here a little bit in the world of outlaw action. And I'm going to put an end date of June 13th here. So about a little month and a half or almost a couple months or whatever. Bill Baylog will have at least 2 World of Outlaw Sprint Car A-Main wins before June 13th.
Wow.
Bill Baylog, at least 2. He has 0 so far this year. He's been running good, but has not found victory lane. Baylog, at least 2 wins before June 13th. Coach Kraus, 3rd and final lap around the track.
Yeah, I'm pretty bold this week, unlike the rest of anybody else in our world, especially Good Jeff and Bert. You guys, I like your guys. You guys have been good. RTJ, 0 podiums this weekend. He is not getting on the podium at all.
Didn't you pick him to win a race?
Probably.
No podiums for RTJ. Okay. Changa.
All right. I'm going to go Bobby Pierce, 2 top 20s this weekend.
That's
I don't know.
bold.
I'm just kidding. You know what? I'll try to make it bold. I'm going to go the opposite of what he went, and I'm going to say RTJ on the podium every night he races this weekend. If it don't, every night that don't rain out.
All right. I think the weather looks good in the Northeast. I'm not sure. I think so, though. All right. So Good Jeff, his 3rd and final one. Brandon Davis is going to finish higher than Jake Tim at Mississippi Thunder. Brandon Davis, higher finish than Jake Tim at Mississippi Thunder Thursday night. Kenny. So between the World of Outlaws and Lucas Oil late models, there's 5 races this weekend. A non-series driver will win at least one of those 5. So Bert, you kind of sniped him, but close. But yours is bolder than his, of course. It's just the way it is, right? But he has RTJ going winless in the Northeast. RTJ will not have a win this week. Yours is bolder, not on the podium, is definitely bolder, but that's still fairly bold. RTJ, pretty good odds he wins 1 of 3. So winless for RTJ. And my 3rd and final one, the Voodoo Child. Changa's #1 Mount Rushmore late model driver, Scott Bloomquist, is going to get a top 5 finish this week at Smoky Mountain in the Hunt the Front late model series. Changa, is that your #1 guy?
Well, no, he's not even, in the same stratosphere as Billy Moyer dad. But not only that, I don't even think that's bold, seeing as though everybody else can be racing. It's going to be him and Overton and nobody else.
Well, Fergie will be there, right? There's a Winger. Yeah, there'll be some guys.
So is Winger and Fergie on the spectrum of Bloomquist? Where do they compare? Are you saying they're better than him, or?
Yeah, I am. Right now, I am saying.
All right.
Yeah, but Changa, there's aliens out there. So that's bold. When there's aliens out there and Bloomquist involved, that's bold, no matter what.
That is bold.
Yeah, well, there is that. Then you might chase them.
So the last lap here, we got a couple things. Before I get in a couple things to get off here, is there anything else that any shout outs, anything coming up here that maybe we haven't quite touched on yet? So I got a couple things here. So got an email here from Joe Staria, Gondik Speedway. Check out the KME late model series that they're having up in Superior, Wisconsin. So they have late models pretty much every night, but there's 8 races up there for the KME series that all pay $1,500 to win or more. Multiple at $2,500. There's a $5,000 to win. That 8 race series is having their own point fund, $7,500 to win the 8 race points series, and it's a really nice breakdown. So pretty cool deal they're doing for the late model guys in Superior. That differs from a track in California that my buddy Joel sent me the payout here. I want to know what you guys would do here. Superstock pay at a California track down there, 24 plus cars, $850 to win. Pretty good, right? 5th is $125, 10th is $40, and it's $30 to start the feature. 16 to 23 is $700 to win, $120 for 5th, $40 for 10th, and $30 to start. 9 or less cars, what do you think the winner gets paid?
$400.
9 or less cars, no pay.
Oh, nice.
There's no purse. 9 or less cars is booster night. You race for free.
Sounds like emo.
Would you kill somebody? So I do want to say, Tucker Peterson and Joey Peterson. Tucker lost his mom. Joey lost his wife here this past weekend. Julie Peterson, Osowski, I think. Julie Osowski, I think is how you say it. She ran a Superstock back in the day, back in the 90s. She's an old Superstock racer. Thoughts and prayers to them. And then one of our former sponsors, the Zuli family, kind of going through some tough times as well. So keep them in your thoughts. They've done a lot to help us out at the One to Go show in the past, and they have a link to kind of help out with some medical costs if you want to check their stuff out online. So with that said, episode number, the hell was that? 221 in the books here. As always, Coach Kraus, bolder than Bert. Just the way we roll. Bert is going to be back in action next week. Minnesota, we determined, state of basketball. So that's kind of cool to see. Any updates on the high limit racing before we jump off here?
Yeah, 2 rollovers so far. They already repaired the fence once, and now it looks like somebody is outside of the track, possibly over the fence in the parking lot.
Oh wow!
Nice.
So nothing going on really. No, just a normal sprint car race.
Nothing really. Yeah. What's the top 3 right now before we jump off?
It was Courtney and Day. They started on the front row. Courtney took the lead right away, and Day was in second. After that, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, they should throw the checker right now then. Probably is what they should do. I'm just saying. All right. So as always, I'm Ryan Aho. That is Coach Kraus. That's my boy Changa there. Thanks for joining us here this week, Changa. I had a lot of fun. Bert's going to be back in action next week. And as always, thanks for tuning in to the One to Go show.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please leave a review and subscribe. It is Puka. And Goat Sports has another show out there by podcast, Facebook, and YouTube. It's the Tea with Miss McGill show. Covers hockey, high school hockey in northern Minnesota. So if you're into hockey, you can find us on podcast under Tea with Miss McGill. You can find us on YouTube or Facebook, Goat Sports Media LLC. Yours truly and Coach Reed Larson. We break it down every week. We also do some interesting interviews. We'd love to have you. So tell your friends, tell your enemies, and we'll catch you next week.